morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Darkness Ablaze. You see, ladies and gentlemen, it has been confirmed. We now know that we will in fact be getting a reprint of Darkness Ablaze. And when I say reprint of Darkness Ablaze, I literally means the printers that print the cards are running and printing more booster boxes and more booster packs of Darkness Ablaze, which is frankly excellent news. Now, I was a little unsure initially as to whether to bring you news of this, because of course Darkness Ablaze is almost the most recent set. Now, not entirely. Vivid Voltage is the actual most recent set, but Darkness Ablaze was right before that. It's not been very long since it came out. But firstly, the reception to the videos on these reprints has been very, very positive. People want to know what's coming. And secondly, I've had a weirdly large amount of people getting in touch being like, can you just do videos like this about all the sets showing the most playable and collectible cards? Because we like seeing that stuff. So you know what? Darkness Ablaze is coming. Not only that, we actually have a date for Darkness Ablaze. I am being told by extremely credible sources, among them the lovely Stephen Kent of Playscape Games, who just hit 2,000 subs on YouTube, which is awesome. Go add yourself to that number if you haven't. We love Stephen. And it's going to be March the 5th. 5th of March is when this is actually coming. So as I record this, we're like 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks on Friday from these Darkness Ablaze cards actually hitting the stores. What does this mean? Well, it essentially means that in the short term, there will be more product on the market, so both sealed and singles will go down in price. Now, obviously, if you flick ahead in 2 months' time, when this reprint has sold out, yeah, fine, prices are probably going to be creeping up again. But I mean, if you want these cards and you've been waiting to try and find them and you've been seeing people selling booster boxes for far above RRP and you don't want to pay them, well, wonderful news, ladies and gentlemen, because that seems to be on the way out, at least in the short term. So with that borne in mind, let's take a look at Darkness Ablaze. And actually, right, in terms of playability, there are a few recent sets that have been as gosh darn good as Darkness Ablaze. It's been awesome. Now, the one thing we do need to point out probably right at the beginning, Crobat V. Like, the best card in Darkness Ablaze is Crobat V. It is that one, play it from your hand to your bench, draw two, you got 6 cards in your hand. It's clearly brilliant, and it's clearly going to see a huge amount of play, and especially when we hit the rotation, and this is really important, because Dedenne is going to be rotating out. And at the moment, you can play Dedenne instead of Crobat. If you still haven't got Crobat V, wussy, yeah, I really need to get some Crobat V. Do head out and get these. Of course, one thing which is really important to point out, there is actually just a straight reprint of Crobat V in Shining Fates. So weirdly, we don't necessarily need a reprint of Darkness Ablaze for Crobat V, because it's coming in Shining Fates. Now, 2 big V-Max decks did come around in Darkness Ablaze. Probably the better of which is Eternatus V-Max, although they've both proven to be very, very excellent decks. Eternatus V-Max has got the awesome ability to let you have 8 bench Pokemon, as long as they're all Darkness, and an attack that does 30 damage for each Darkness Pokemon you got in play, i.e. 2 energy, 270. It has proven to be one of the very, very best decks in the game. It is phenomenal. Just like Center Scorch V Max, which for 2 energy minimum does 40 damage for each fire energy on you, plus 40 damage base, and if you deal any damage with the attack, you get to attach an extra fire energy from your discard pile. Bearing in mind, of course, that you have Welder to accelerate fire energy and Volcanion to accelerate fire energy, and this one gets pretty out of control pretty gosh darn quickly. And these are 2 decks where you really are going to need multiple copies of the V and multiple copies of the V Max, so being able to pick them up a little bit more easily is going to be really good. These are cards that should remain pretty good moving beyond the rotation, although the loss of Welder is going to hurt Center Scorch. The only question is how much. But even so, these are cards which people are going to want for playing. Now, there are also a bunch of others. Vikavolt V, the card that for 2 energy does 50 damage and blocks item cards. And I know that so far Vikavolt V has proved underwhelming. It has not taken over the format like we would think. It's been in some Pika-ROM decks, and it's been in some Pika-ROM decks that have done very well at very big tournaments, but it really does seem to be more of a tech in Pika-ROM as opposed to its own archetype for the time being. Now, Mad Party has been running around and doing pretty well lately and seems to be a pretty popular deck, but the thing is, if we go forward again to Shining Fates, we are getting shiny versions of all of the Mad Party members. Not only are we getting shiny versions of all the Mad Party members, but we are also getting promo cards with beautiful alternate art of all of the Mad Party members. So what I'm saying is, if you want to play Mad Party, if you want the cheap version, then yes, that's absolutely in Darkness Ablaze. But there are fancy versions of those cards coming, better versions if you will, certainly in terms of value and collectability, that you can be picking up in Shining Fates. Do remember the alternate art are promo cards in the pin collections. They are not in the set proper. That is quite important to note. Decidueye seems to be a pretty good card. That's the one that blocks GXs. Now, admittedly, that's gotten less and less good as time's gone by. Aegislash comes along here and gives metal decks a really nice option to essentially hit through the ability, which is a slight problem. And in Battle Styles, we're going to be getting Phoebe, which will let VMAXs hit through this, which could be a bit of a problem, but it's still been a popular card that's seen a bunch of play. We've got the Mimikyu, which stops your opponent from healing. Essentially, it's just counters Mallow and Lana. Now, it only stops your opponent healing on the bench, which is why it's so good against Mallow and Lana. Remember, Mallow and Lana, you switch and then heal, so it is essentially healing your bench. It's cool. And like I say, all of these cards are going to become more available and a little cheaper. One could argue that these random rares are not terribly expensive as it is, but this is still going to help. And again, you can buy boxes and pull them, which, you know, that's always fun. Hoopa's seen a little bit of play in some of these Darkness decks. 90 damage if it became active this turn. Single energy, basic Pokemon, 90 damage, yes. Rhyperior V has seen a little bit of play in decks like Mewtwo and Mew, just because it can get a one-hit KO on Eternatus. Which means if you're playing the right kind of energy or Aurora energy or whatever, it does actually give you a little bit of an option, and that's kind of lovely. And also Galarian Slowbro V, it's a basic Pokemon that can poison your opponent. It's quite nice. It's seen play in some of those Eternatus decks, which have been pretty gosh darn popular. Is worth pointing out that this is actually coming as a tin promo as well. So if you do just want to pick up this particular card, there is a very strong argument that you're actually better off just getting it in the tin that's coming out. And to be fair, this set is actually kind of tripping really good trainer cards as well. Now again, trainer cards are not really getting a huge amount of value here. Most of these trainer cards can be picked up pretty cheaply. But the point is that firstly, the price will still come down if there's more on the market. And secondly, you can go and buy yourself booster packs, boxes, etc. and actually pull some of these. But you've got Birdkeeper, the switch that lets you draw free cards as you switch, which is pretty nice. Cape of Toughness, it gives your basic non-GX Pokemon an extra 50 HP. Glimwood Tangle, that lets you reflip any coins that you used while attacking, which seems pretty good. Piers, that searches for a Darkness Pokemon and an energy, and yes, it can be a special energy. Rose, that lets you accelerate energy to a Pokemon VMAX, although admittedly you do have to discard your entire hand. But then again, Rose Tower, that lets you refill your hand. Or Spikemuth, that damages Pokemon when they go to the bench, either your opponent's or yours, to fuel attacks on Pokemon like Spiritomb, for instance, because there's always Pokemon around that do more damage for each damage counter on them. So that one's kind of fun. Or Turbo Patch, that lets you flip a coin and if heads, accelerate energy to a basic Pokemon. And then you've got the special energy, Heat Fire energy to give fire Pokemon extra HP, Hiding Darkness energy to give darkness Pokemon free retreat, or powerful colorless energy to let colorless Pokemon do extra damage. The point is that for playability, Darkness Ablaze is awesome. A really good set that brings in a whole bunch of really good cards. All of which you can either now buy boxes and boosters and pull, or the price will come down, which is a good thing. In terms of collectability, however, I do think this is where Darkness Ablaze falls down quite a lot. Now look, obviously we've got Charizard VMAX. No one's arguing we don't have Charizard VMAX. Everybody knows we've got Charizard VMAX. This is the money card from the set. It's a regular VMAX, but it is still very much the money card from the set. Now, do remember that the Rainbow VMAX came around in Champion's Path, and the shiny VMAX is actually coming around in Shining Fates. The only one you get in this particular set is just the regular VMAX, which of course is by far the least valuable of the three. So it's kind of weird that the only quote-unquote money card in Darkness Ablaze is a card where there are two different versions in two other sets, each of which is worth significantly more. Having said that, Charizard VMAX is still like a $100 card, which kind of makes it around about the price of a booster box-ish. My point is, if you're looking for money cards, even though there's a Charizard, Darkness Ablaze might not be the set for you. After you get the Charizard, you've got the Gold Rillaboom, which is maybe like a $45 card, roughly. I mean, certainly I was looking around prepping this video, and I could have bought it for under $50. And then there's kind of a subset of $35-ish cards. We've got Rainbow Rares of Salamence, Scizor, and Butterfree, which are honestly largely cards which haven't seen a huge amount of play. But, I don't know, people like those Pokemon? And then you've got the Rainbow Rare Eternatus, which of course is a very playable card. And then the Gold Colossal, but all of those are like $35 cards. They really haven't gone up all that much. It's the price of a few packs. So, honestly, if you're looking to rebuy Darkness Ablaze from a collectability standpoint, this is not the set for you. There are better sets. If you want to get a whole bunch of playable cards, or you just want to enjoy the price dropping of playable cards, then you know what? Maybe Darkness Ablaze might just be the one you're looking for. Either way, when we looked at Cosmic Eclipse, I told you that a reprint was absolutely needed. That set was nuts. When we looked at Team Up, I told you, honestly, I don't think we do particularly need much of a reprint. Here, this is going to survive the rotation. It's got a lot of good cards in. I think this is the kind of thing the community are going to be happy is coming back out again. And because this is a more recent set, please don't be surprised if this isn't the last time it gets reprinted, because remember that Pokemon did come out and say recently, look, we are going to be reprinting sets as needed, so I would not be surprised in the least if this ended up coming back round again. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about Darkness Ablaze. I want to know how excited you are for this restock. I want to know anything you want to tell me, frankly. So go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.